Don't please. I'm still feeling a little stiff in the old back. So, you mind if I smoke?
Okay, everybody, so this is the next update with the repair of Mr. Bones. So last night, my dad and I reattached the first section of the chair, which is this pole right here going down to about here where that little line is, and then just this top piece. And we were able to successfully do that, and now these second two, I guess, sections are currently adhesing with epoxy, and we'll give that about an hour or so to be all sturdy. And then we have this little piece that goes here and just filling up a few cracks along this area, and then that's it. So hopefully we can do all that and then get it back together. Okay, everyone, so I'm currently here with Kevin, and he is working on the mechanism for Mr. Bones' head. As you can see, it is very complicated and abnormal. Not something you've really seen before.
I'm trying to get this in there the God way without opening up this ratchet gearbox.
Because the thing is, for prototype life sizes and several prototype tabletops, there's a special adhesive. It's that pink stuff that they use to put things together. And it's very strong. And I don't know.
Probably very deadly.
And I don't know exactly what it contains, but it gets the job done, that's for sure. So what he's trying to do, because it's a produced gearbox, but the bottom of it has that pink stuff, which is attached to the pole right there. So he's trying to replace the split gear without having to deal with the pink stuff that's on there. And as you can see, that right there is the weight, because since Mr. Bones does shake, so he chatters his teeth and he shakes, and it's all in one mechanism. So that's the weight to make him shake. And on the other side is like a wheel with a string that makes his mouth chatter up and down really fast. So we're just trying to get that fixed right now.
Yeah, I got in and I stabbed myself with the rod.
That's nice.
So it is nice. Got in?
So the gear's in there?
Yes, I got in. Yes.
Nice.
It is.
Wow.
You see, listen to that.
Because if you had to like melt that or chip away at the pink, it would be really hard to get that back on there as well, I bet. And there's all the wires and everything.
Oh, exactly. Right, I just got a kind of prod disc back up with it to its normal state. Yeah, I think that's good. Oh, but that's so smooth. Perfect, okay. Oh, time to toss it in the trash. I'm kidding. Alright. So one thing I noticed is that it looks like there was supposed to be some sort of screw holder in the very front, but it's like they snapped it off.
Oh.
Let me look at this. I don't know if you can see, like, right around here.
Kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Ow, my thumb hurts. So, like, the rod jabbed in, like, underneath of my nail. That hurt.
That sounds uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as bad as other things that happen. But we don't need to talk about that. People probably don't even hear about it.
Yeah. So what Kevin's doing now is, in order to take out the mechanism, he had to undo some wires because some things did not want to come out of the head. For example, one of the LEDs and then the motion sensor in the head did not want to actually come out, so he had to disconnect the wires, and so now he has to reconnect those.
Exactly.
And when I first opened up the head, because the thing is, part of it is produced and part of it isn't. And thankfully the main frame of the head was produced so it had screw holders. And I opened it up and the original rubber belt around the pulley system was all like melted and it was off of there. And then so I just rotated the big wheel a little bit and then it started to spin. And before that, the LEDs in the chair actually weren't lighting up really. But then once I got that running and put the new belt on, it actually caused them to work again. So that's good. I don't know how that worked, but I guess the motor was just locked up or whatever.
More than likely was. Oh, I'm so glad that didn't require me to open up that gearbox. I'm so happy.
I'm amazed that you were able to replace the gear in there.
Same! Same.
Like, I wouldn't even know where the gear would be because I've never seen this specific gearbox before.
It's really weird. I mean, the design of it, something even I haven't seen before as well.
You can see on the bottom of the neck where they stopped painting it because they didn't need to. The white.
They're too cheap. And the base.
Yeah. But that pink stuff is really strong.
Wow.
That's what I know.
It really is. But whatever, like this one other piece, this doohickey is like, where did it come from?
Because it was inside that head when I opened it up. So.
I can't believe, like, the funny thing was that, like, I told you, like, the fact that my guess was it was a weight, but it wasn't a weight, but this thing actually had a weight inside.
Yeah.
Alright, so I should be able to do a quick test run of this thing.
That would be interesting.
With just, like, how with it all exposed and everything. Okay, put the belt back in place. Oh, that is solid right there. Okay, we need to reconnect the motor wires. Now I'm speaking French. Because why not? Pretty sure we can get dislikes now because I'm mocking French people.
Get demonetized.
We were never even monetized.
We'll still get demonetized.
Oh well, fuck YouTube. Who cares? Where's the tape? Where's the tape? Where did that piece of tape go? Oh no.
Oh.
The piece of tape that would be on here has vanished. Where did it go?
Yeah, and for
I mean, it's not really important, but
yeah, and for the
I somehow lost it.
viewers,
It's gone.
for the viewers to know, it is actually currently March 25th when this is happening. This video will probably go up much later than March 25th, but yeah.
I lost the tape. It's gone.
Does it need the tape?
No, but it's just there to secure the wires, and I took it off gently so it can be reused, and now it's gone. The ghost is gone. Or how the heck that thing said it. But yeah, it's gone. Wait, why did I put the wire strip away? You still need that. Here we go. It's gone. I'll probably just use some random tape. So let me just get the jack, or the plug, and my generic batteries. That was the batteries too. No, I didn't. Okay, wait. I think I found a polarity. Good. Alright, ready to see this in action?
Yeah.
So it's going to be kind of rocking a pretty decent amount. A good amount, I should say.
That's so weird looking.
I know. And you see how much it's moving, like, in my hands?
Yeah, and that's like probably a dying battery too.
Well, yeah. Well, it's only 2 generic double A's on. For God's sake. Okay, so this is done. Let me find some decent tape. You know what? It's probably not going to need it. I just feel that tape is stuck somewhere. Really, like, it's going to be in a really dumb spot.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, this mechanism for Mr. Bones has now been fixed, and hopefully he'll be able to find the tape, because it is so very important. And then...
Yes, it's very important.
The originality. And then, once he does that and solders the wires or whatever back together, then he can put the head back and then ship it back to me, and then we'll be able to do a test. So yeah. Hello everybody, this is DD_Richard1 here on Gemmy Master Animatronics, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Gemmy 2011 life-size animated Mr. Bones. Now this item was never mass-produced. There are only a few amount of prototypes made that were used as samples, and this is one of those sample prototype items. Now this particular one was displayed at various expos in a wholesaling booth, and miraculously it survived all of that, and someone that I know purchased it from the wholesaling company, and it is now mine, all those years later. I first contacted the guy that owned this like 2 years ago, and then just a few months back, I got back in touch with him, and he still had it, and he was willing to sell it, although it took a very long time for me to actually get this item because of its size, and to try, the guy was not sure how to take it apart for shipping and everything. But this guy does come apart. The legs come off of the bottom of the chair, excuse me. And yeah, so this guy was, as I said, was going to be released in 2011, but for obvious reasons he wasn't. Just because it would be very, it's not very user friendly. It's kind of a complicated setup and design, and it's very cool, but just it's not the most efficient when it comes to like setting him up and the average person using him and whatnot. But essentially, when I got this item, shipping completely killed it because prototypes originally come from the factory, and they're all on this one big pallet, so they're not, being tossed around and everything. They're just being lifted up on the lift, put on a truck or a boat, and then that's where it's at. So that's why whenever these things are shipped, especially the life-size items, or when they're in the hands of average everyday people that aren't in the industry, they get obliterated, such as this zombie, as you saw, was in very bad shape. And yeah, so when this guy got sent to me, it was packed extremely well, and the whole back of the chair just got completely destroyed. It was all like in different pieces and everything. So yeah, that was pretty bad. But I used some, and if you have a prototype item that's cracked, I recommend using the clear coat JB Weld epoxy, like the clear epoxy, not the one that's kind of white, just the transparent one. It's like $6 or $7 sometimes, which is expensive, but it's worth it. So use that if you have a resin prototype when you're fixing it, because it's very strong. So basically we used epoxy, or I used epoxy, and put that on the back of the chair. So the chair's in one piece now, and he's in one piece, which is really surprising. And the way it's designed, he doesn't actually sit on the bottom of the chair. He's held up by the back of the chair. So that got me even more concerned because of his animations and whatnot, and the fact that he is held up by the part that was broken. But somehow it works, and he's still in one piece. And so that wasn't the only problem with this guy. He had kind of some circuit board related problems. And he had a split gear. As you saw from the video clips with Kevin restoring it, it just kind of constantly moves in one direction, which causes his mouth to chatter as if he's being electrocuted. And there's that weight on the other side, which kind of makes his whole body shake like he's being electrocuted. So it's a very cool effect. This guy, I tested different adapters. I started low with the Techie 6-volt, and that worked the best. But with the 9, like the sound cut out when I used that. So it takes a 6-volt 2-amp adapter, and there's a second adapter slot for a 24-volt adapter. And I will get this off his lap. So this was on the back of the chair, but came off. It says 24 volts. So if you have a Jimmy Cauldron witch, you will know that there's 2 adapters for it, and one of them has a weird connection so that you don't plug the wrong one in the wrong hole. That was actually very smart of them to do that. But he has that as well. So you know what that means? Yep. He actually smokes when he's activated. So there's an intricate tubing system that's in him. So there, in the bottom of the chair in the back, there is a holding area for water. And I'll show that right now. So as you saw in the pictures, there's a little yellow cap that you can either undo it like that or just twist it off. And there's an area where you can pour water in, and there's a fill line you have to fill to. And then there's a little, one of those little mist makers that are in the Cauldron Witch cauldrons. And also the ones that, you can put in bowls to make the bowl fog that they sell on spirithalloween.com and stuff like that. So that is really surprising. Or was really surprising to me, because I know that's how it was in the stock photo. I just would have never expected it to actually be on the item. And there's a miniature inflatable fan. Hopefully I'll have a picture of that, so I'll pull it up right now. But, so the way it works is when it's activated, it starts making, or it'll constantly, I guess, be making the fog effect. And when you activate him with the lever or by the motion sensor, the miniature inflatable fan turns on, which quickly pushes the smoke out of through the tubes and out from underneath his hand. So it comes out really quick. Now, I've not tested this feature and I don't plan to because unfortunately they decided to make the area that holds the water out of resin, which is what the chair is made of, and I really feel like that wouldn't be the smartest idea to put water inside the resin because I feel like that would just really damage the item. And also there's no drain on the bottom, so you'd have to tilt the chair upside down to get all the water out. So they kind of didn't figure that part out quite exactly, but they were pretty close. Now, as for activating him, there's a couple ways to do it. There's this lever right here that you can do like that. Sorry, it's not focusing the best. There's a motion sensor right there. There's one in his nose as well, but they don't have the wires connected. And there's only two things that really need to be done with him at this point. The first thing is that this LED, which is a green LED, was actually shattered in shipment, so that doesn't exist anymore. And then just with the circuit board problem, so essentially it will sound like the radio. And then sometimes, he won't even really work properly at all. Like a lot of the lights won't light up and his mouth won't even move because it's too weak. There's not enough power being supplied to the various lights and movements. But you can't fix that with a more powerful adapter. There's like a transistor or something that's just kind of going out. But recently he's been not really having those severe issues where he doesn't even move or light up at all. It's just that it'll be really staticky and then the mouth will kind of slowly move. And he does have a head turning mechanism which has wires snipped to it, and there's two little wires that don't go anywhere that are snipped right next to the EEPROM chip. So my theory is if those wires were connected one day, then he would actually have a turning head. So that is possible for him to have a turning head, it's just not hooked up because they didn't intend for the produced model to have that.
Another joke, please. I'm still feeling a little stiff in the old back. So, you mind if I smoke? Medium well.